press conference. You know, the ACC today is an institution that doesn't speculate. We don't speculate. Therefore, we don't initiate. We always work with facts and figures. Today's press conference is primarily for us to show you, for the people of Sierra Leone, the kind of work we have done and will continue to do. So let me again welcome you to this second press conference in the year 2024. On that note, I will now call on my commissioner, your commissioner, and our commissioner, the People's Commissioner, Francis Kaifala, DSP.
Well, it's going to be a very short meeting. The purpose of this press conference is to update the media from the anti-corruption perspective on certain cases that we know have been very concerning for the public. A lot has been said, but you have to understand that we do our work within certain parameters, we do our work within laws, we have processes and procedures, and sometimes we genuinely understand the frustration of the public. It's a country that has gone through. I tell my staff sometimes when they come complaining how certain people behave, or the comments they see on Facebook, or the comments they hear on the media, and I tell them that this is a country that has gone through trauma. And people are genuinely traumatized. So do not be angry at the things they say. Let us focus on the work, understanding that because the country has been led in a way that there is a complete break of social contract, where people who you put trust in for so long have behaved in a terrible way for so long that trust is not there. When the country is run like a lemon economy, a lemon economy is an economy where you are promised oranges, but what you actually get is lemons. Nothing is true. Nothing is true. The very foundation and core of our country for so many years has been run on the foundations of untruth, of deception, extreme dishonesty. So, the people have a right to feel the way they feel. People have a right to react the way they react. People have a right to believe that certain things, for example, when people are saying that public officers are not being held accountable strongly enough, even though we are putting our best effort, we are updating them, we are giving them the information, they have the right to that feeling. Yeah. It's because Sierra Leone has been traumatized. But as you see, whether you believe it or not, this country is at a tipping point towards change forever. It may be slow in your eyes because we humans think quantitatively. We like to think big. And if it doesn't look too big in our eyes, sometimes we think that it's small. But small things, when they are accumulative with time, they can lead to big changes. So it may not be fast enough for you. It may not be drastic enough for you. But it's a question of the agenda, the focus, the timing, the consistency over time. That is what makes a country change. The government has been very magnanimous by giving us the responsibility of fighting corruption, and the president has been very kind to give us a free hand to do our work. And believe it or not, I speak with that president. I sit. Before I took this job as Anti-Corruption Commissioner, I sat with him. By then, he himself had not even moved to state law. He was at a place in Juba. We sat down in a very small room in that building. I know the conversation we had about this country. I know between he and I what we discussed and what should be done about corruption. And I have no doubt in my mind that he is committed to it. Because firstly, if you were not committed to it, I don't believe I would listen. But it's a difficult country. People can have good intentions and their intentions are frustrated by our very people. And sometimes to bring about change, you have to be strategic, you have to be careful, you have to take steps, you have to balance a lot of things out, but it does not mean you are not aware of what is happening in the country and you are not ready to take steps. I always tell people, for example, they say, oh, people are not being locked up. The way the foundations of this country was built on corruption and children grew up without even understanding what is wrong and what is good. I was just having a conversation with certain people who were involved in the SLRA Ministry of Finance fraud, from whom we have now recovered the money you see before us here, 4.3 billion. All yours. Now it's 4.3 million. And I was asking them a question. They sat in my office, momenting, all of them. And I asked one of them, the ringleader of the scheme that took this money out of state coffers. And I asked him, why? Why did you do this? Why did you think that you should take 4.3 million loans or 4.3 billion all loans from state coffers and use it for yourself when the entire country, when you drive along the streets of Street Town, how happy are you? You see young people standing, they don't have jobs. You go to the hospital, there are no drugs. You are not even willing to send your children to the public schools because the teachers are not paid enough. The resources there are not good enough. And therefore, you yourself don't have confidence sometimes to send your children to the public school. The money you steal, you pay half of it to pay their school fees in the private school. When we could make the public school better for everybody and all of us feel confident to send our children. Well, you take 1.3 billion. You take 4.3 billion news. Share it among yourselves. And how do you feel? I told them, when I came to Sierra Leone, a few days ago, on Sunday night, I got here. And I was being driven from Seacoach to Godrich. In darkness. No electricity. Sadness descended on me. I felt so bad. Is this what we want for this country? And there is nothing we have not done. We have arrested people. We have detained people for months. We have cases in court, dozens in court. Trials going on. We have recovered from them over 45 billion. We have recovered houses. We have spoken on every radio, television, and media possible. There is no university in this country that we have not done and done a public lecture on corruption. Even tomorrow, I'm at Private College. Today, when I was coming, I was called to go to law school in the morning tomorrow. The team at the ACC don't sleep. I feel so sad for them. Sometimes I stretch them so hard that I sit down and ask myself, what are you doing? You guys have to get these answers. You guys have to go and they'll tell you, but sir, it's now 6 p.m. I say, yes, it's 6 p.m. But you have to go and arrest that person at 7 p.m. As a country, as a people, we have to understand that the collective is better than the individual. We have to break away from the past. Stealing 4.3 billion euros and building a house that you sleep in and all your relatives have to come and beg you for money in the morning. You can't even sleep well. They are banging your door so hard. My children are sick, they don't have food. Yet you wake up from your air-conditioned room, go outside and look at them, and you give them pittance. But you could have made their life easy if the hospitals were free. They don't have to come to you if there are drugs in the hospitals and the hospitals are free. But they will come to you because they don't have money to pay. And you steal everything to do that. And that makes the hospitals not to have drugs anymore. But we at the Commission will continue doing what we do. And therefore, I will give you updates on a few cases that we have been dealing with in recent times which are of public concern. Number one is the Parliament case, which the public, for some reason, as a result of this social contract, when it started, were very apprehensive. He's a very powerful man. He's the Clerk of Parliament. And because he's a very powerful man, nothing will happen. Even after we invited him and his wife, we said the wife cannot go home if all the money she received is not paid back to the people of Sierra Leone. Whilst we investigate, we are still under intense fire. Mr. Gobi was so under fire because I was not there. I was just watching. And I was calling Mr. Gobi, what's happening? He said, these people are just insulting me. I said, okay, Mr. Gobi, let them continue to insult us. But let's do our work. But in that file, I had a meeting with the president yesterday. And we have discussed what will happen administratively. Let me repeat again, we don't have control over the president or what he can do. And we will not dictate his work. And certainly, I, Francis Ben Kaifala, as Commissioner of Anti-Corruption Commissioner of Sierra Leone, is not the Chief Executive Officer of Sierra Leone. There is a president, and his role is very spelled out in the Constitution, and nobody should expect me to usurp that role. But he's a very, very listening man. And I had a meeting with him yesterday, and I know that he's going to take action in respect of Parliament. But on our side, why is that happening? The clerk, the wife of Parliament, and other staff, administrative staff who are involved remain on bail. We have, as of today, recovered 151 million oleos. I still speak in oleos. I'm trying to get into the millions. But we have recovered 151 million oleos, which is 151,000 millions now, not so, from the wife, Madam Abibatu Parana Trawali, which is now with us. It is not part of this money that you see here. But she has fully paid 151 million euros, which represents a salary for 19 months that she did not work. But paid. And the investigations continue. Some people say, oh, there is no accountability. There is no. What does accountability mean? Accountability is the moment somebody does something and that person is asked a question, even if it is just why did you do it, that is the beginning of accountability. Let alone that we have gone far to say you will not go home if you do not pay all the money and the person pays it back. It does not mean that is the end of the matter, but it is a very strong beginning. Whilst we now look into what steps can be taken to ensure that we continue to maintain public trust and we ensure that these things that have been happening in Sierra Leone, we can break away from them. There is no way it is acceptable for a man to recruit his wife in an office without taking steps to ensure that there is no public conflict of interest. Again, let me repeat. It is not forbidden for a man to recruit his wife. It is not forbidden for a man to recruit his brother, his sister, his friends, and things like that. The law did not say you cannot do it. But there are processes set so that when you do it, you who are in a position do not exert undue and unfair interest in that recruitment process. So let's say your wife is the only cardiologist in this country and you are head of Corruption Hospital. There is no other cardiologist. And your wife applies to become a consultant surgeon at Connaught Hospital. There is nothing wrong for your wife to be recruited at Connaught Hospital. But you have to write and say, this is my wife who has applied. And because it is my wife, I cannot play a role in this recruitment process. I am removing myself. If possible, bring water and put water down and wash your hands like Pontius Pilate. And say, I bear no hands in these proceedings. You move away. When you move away, maybe there is a panel that can now review the situation and decide that this wife is truly the only consultant surgeon we have in Sierra Leone. Therefore, there is nothing wrong. We have taken note of the letter given by Mr. James Sise, which says that his wife and is our boss. But the wife is absolutely qualified. But we here have taken the decision to employ him. It is properly minuted, and then it is referred. And they bring it to Mr. James Sise. Mr. James Sise looks at it. If possible, he calls them again. Are you people sure my wife is the only person who can work here? They say yes. And then the wife can be recruited. The idea behind it is to avoid unfair advantage. Let's now say the scenario was flipped, that the wife was competing against 15 other consultant surgeons for this one place at Connaught Hospital. If Mr. James Sise was to be the one who is to take the decision as to why one of them should be recruited at Connaught Hospital, do you think he will vote against his wife? Even if he's such a man that he's capable of voting against his wife, the law is basically saying he should have no role to play. Because of that locking human tendency, you are likely to favor people close to you against others. Scientists did a simple experiment. They put black kids and white kids together and created a conflicting situation. It was easy for the black kids to unite against the white kids. And they started fighting each other. Very easy. And then they decided to say, okay, this one is too clear. Let's take the same white kids, but we identify the ones with blue eyes. We put them in the same room and create a conflicting situation between those white kids. The blue-eyed kids united very easily against the other kids that have brown eyes. Are we understanding this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Basically, what this tells you is that we have a natural tendency inside of us to identify with things that are closer to us. That is why the law on conflict of interest is there. Do not be in a position to exert control over a decision making and you take a decision. Particularly when it's a situation where your conscience cannot allow. It's your brother, your sister, your business partner, you declare. And this goes even to procurement. We did a case involving the former minister of Works. Former minister of Works, his name was Mr. Jallo, not so? Mr. Barry. Mr. Barry had a company and he was Minister of Works. When they were ready to refurbish the building at Spur Road for Mr. Victor Fo to move in as Vice President, he simply consulted his own company to go and do it. The bank account where the money was going, he was the signatory to that bank account, and he was Minister of Works. That is classical conflict of interest. So conflict of interest is not just about your wife, your friends, and family. Anything that puts you in a position for you not to be able to take a decision without it being against yourself is conflict of interest. Why I'm explaining this is for people to understand very clearly and for us to know that these things have to be rejected and let us move on better. So that is the update on the parental case. We have recovered 151,000 loans, new loans, which is 151 million old loans, and it is with us. Mr. Parantarali, his wife, and other people concerned without file and on bail. The president will take administrative action on this issue, and every other thing that we follow will follow according to law. Let everybody understand that we have had the issue, the outcry from the public, and steps will be taken.
Sorry.
The National Revenue Authority over 45 billion loans was siphoned through a bank. The key person in that investigation, we have already put out a wanted notice for him. His name was Salim Mansare. He was the one who engineered everything to take out the money and distribute it among themselves. Sadly, Salim Mansare has run away and has gone to Dubai. So we are trying to take steps to get him, but in the meantime, other people who are here who were involved in that investigation, we are taking steps to ensure that they are held fully accountable. Even the Salim Mansare, we are going to try him in absentia if needed. There's another case at the ministry, at one of our projects, which again another banker by the name of Frederick Corker worked with some people to take out 1.6 billion euros out of the banking system. This money was meant to go to NRA. That investigation is also going on, but in the meantime, Frederick Corker had taken his family to America, came back to Sierra Leone, created this scheme to steal the money, and the moment the bank found out that something was wrong, he simply bought his plane ticket and he has gone quietly to the US to live with his family ever happily. While the children of Sierra Leone suffer and die because they are I don't know how such a man is going to lie down in his bed in America and watch his children grow. Why this country remains as it is. But what I can tell you is that Frederick Corker, positively we are sure, has left the shores of Sierra Leone and gone to America. But let his conscience be with him. And those who are his family members, let them know that this is what Frederick Corker did to Sierra Leone before he went to America. Now to the case before us. The Ministry of Finance, I must say, is being run by people at the moment who I believe want the good of this country. So the minister and Matthew Dingy, who is the financial secretary, very professionally brought to our attention that some payment which was supposed to be sent to a firm, an accounting firm, had been intercepted by some people, and they withdrew the money which was supposed to go to an account at Procurement Commercial Bank in Sierra Leone, in Freetown. They sent the money to Kaifala Community Bank, and they withdrew it. They did their own investigations very professionally. When I say they, I mean the Ministry of Finance. And they forwarded the report to us. Based on that report, we moved very swiftly. In less than 2 hours, we arrested everybody concerned. Starting with the ringleader, who was a certain Emmanuel Smart. And then we arrested a few other people at the Ministry of Finance who are mostly Accountant General's Department. And they were brought to the Commission. So we looked at the situation just like we did with the Parantarali and his wife Saga. My deputy and I conferred, and we agreed that the best thing to do is to tell them firstly. And I want people to understand this. When we say people should pay back money, we are not saying that no consequence should follow. But our primary responsibility is to protect the resources of the people of Ghana. So once they were in custody, we gave the condition that if you want to go home to your family, you have to bring back all that money that you stole. And this is money that was stolen since last year, August, coming on to December. They first created a suspense account where they sent this money in. Later, the gentleman as SLRA went and opened a bank account. He's the finance director. The deputy accounting officer, he went and even created a company account with his name and face, with his card and everything, for this money to go in that account, and he went and withdrew it. And after he withdrew it, we have the records of how he distributed it. In Christmas, just before Christmas Day alone, when many Sierra Leoneans were thinking about what to eat. These people distributed among themselves 2.3 billion euros.
Yeah.
They will give this one 500 million. They will give this one 400 million. They will give this one 100 million. We have the template of how they did it. And they went to their home and enjoyed very lofty Christmas chicken. I'm sure the bars at Aberdeen Beach were also very comfortable with those Christmas. These are the kinds of people who go and say, serve the house, serve the house.
But I know we call you.
My brother.
But you don't call them now.
When the majority of the Sierra Leoneans are thinking about where to get a meal, I am not concerned about people who work hard and make money and live a good life. I myself love a good life. I want to live in a decent home. I want my children to live decently and have food. I want to drive the best car I can afford. I want to live a good life, and I want that for everybody. And I know I am a capitalist by thinking. I am a capitalist. I know that laziness should not be rewarded. And I am very happy for the lazy man to suffer. And I am very happy for the hard-working man or woman to be rewarded.
Yeah.
At no point in my life have I been sorry for myself that I grew up poor. The only thing I wanted to do was to work hard to get out of it. By honesty, working with other people, and helping other people grow along with it. So, we are not against people enjoying Christmas chicken while some people don't have chicken. But let us create opportunities for everybody to be able to afford chicken as a basic Christmas gift. And then we all can enjoy our chickens and be fine. But when some people are stealing 4.3 billion euros by themselves and eating it among themselves, it's a problem. And therefore, this money you see here today, all of it, every penny of it, is, and some of it is back here, by the way. Those are bank boxes. Every one of those boxes is 1 billion. Yes. So what you see here and what you see back there, and we even have another 1.8 billion euros in the account, not so? Another 1.8 billion euros in an account. All of it we have recovered from these people, totaling 8.4 billion euros. Imagine people stole 8.4 billion euros from Sierra Leone. If you don't want to cry, I want to cry. 8.4 billion euros. Don't you feel like crying? The good news is, if even you don't think that things are happening, but I know, because we are all now adults here. We have lived in this country for years, not so? Yes. There has never been a time when somebody has stolen even 1 billion euros from this country and paid it. Is there anybody here who wants to remind me of a time? But today, consistently, we have been bringing back money stolen from the public, including what you see here. 8.4 billion euros. We have recovered every penny of it from them in less than 2 weeks for the people of Sierra. The beginning of change, and I am very grateful to my team, from the Deputy Commissioner, the directors you see here, the staff of the Commission. I can assure you, when you see these things on this table here, you will think that is an easy thing. You will think it's so easy. But trust me, people have been in this office, sometimes they nearly sleep in this office, working on this file. Because first of all, for you to get people to pay, you have to establish the case against them so badly that they cannot run away. They themselves know that I am finished if I don't bring this money. And that does not happen by you just calling them to the office and say, you, that money will go to go count. You have to work hard to dig it. and you present them with the uncontrovertible evidence. And sometimes to go after the resources where they are. Freezing accounts here and there, identifying where they are hiding the money, doing what is this, even arresting them sometimes. Our staff stay at their houses waiting for them. The intelligence, they will stand at that house observing that door when this man is going to enter this place. And the Scorpio squad is standing by, and when the man enters, the staff who has been standing there for 10 hours at 5 a.m. in the morning says the man has now come. You people can come. I will go and arrest them at 5 a.m. It's not easy. And I have to sometimes give those directives to my staff to tell them, you have to stay there from 10 p.m. at night to 5 a.m. in the morning. And if you think that salaries are poor in the country and you think that the ACC is an exception, then think again. But it's a sacrifice that all of them are doing. And I am very grateful to everybody at the ACC, particularly the team of investigators, headed by this very hardworking woman. Please stand up, let them see you. It's a lady. Please clap for her. Madam Evelyn Kuyate has been leading this team for years, and she has tried to instill professionalism in them, trying to guide and direct them, because don't make no mistake, we are dealing with us. We are also Sierraleoneans, we understand ourselves. It's not easy to keep them in line. But under her leadership as Director of Investigations, she has been able to show that a woman can deliver. And we are very grateful. I must also thank my dear Deputy Commissioner, Mr. Augustine Gobi, who you all know, the commander, not so? Even when I have been away, but even when I'm here, he is basically the one running the show, making sure that the office continues to run so well, and we are able to do these amazing things. And I also want to thank the people of Sierra Leone. I know it's not easy for you. Like I started by saying, you have been traumatized. But I want to assure you that we are doing our very best for this country. We do not come here in the morning like I hear people say selective justice and all these things. What do they even mean by selective justice? You think that I, Francis Ben Kaifala, when I was called to say that people have stolen money at finance, at SLRA, I started by saying, please go and ask their names. Go and ask what region they come from, what political party they voted for in the last election. You really think that I do that? It's just difficult for all of us. And I understand with you, but that kind of judgment is a very unfair judgment. We are doing our best. Sometimes the evidence is not easy to come by. We struggle to get it. But whenever we have gotten it, we have made sure we take steps to handle all of them. My dear team, thank you very much. Journalists and other people who came to observe this press conference, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. You've spoken well with the reality, the physical evidence. So now we've heard the Commissioner. Without going over all what he has said, we encourage you to ask questions. But there are rules. One, a question already being asked by your colleague, please don't go by it again because of time. Right? Then don't embellish your question. Go direct to the question. So, the first set we're going to allow 4 people to ask. 2 from this end, 2 from this end. Yes, the man check there. Your name and the media house you're coming from.
My name is Bokari Kamara. Bokari Kamara. I do write for the Newstorm newspaper. And this is a very good work for this nation. And sometime, sometime 2022, teachers were displayed at the country there for examination malpractice. And today we see huge amount of money stolen by government officials. Are they going to be displayed at the country there for this wicked act to Sierra Leoneans, especially the poor people down there at Kaifala and McKinney? Will you display them at the country for Sierra Leone to see that they have done wrong to the nation of this country? Thank you.
Your name and the nation of this country. Thank you.
Let's give ears, please.
My name is Isaac Unison. In as much as what the commissioner did say, he said there are cases there in the court that are yet to be concluded. So, if however these cases are not being worked on, how can you think corruption will stop?
All right. Is that your question?
Yes.
Okay. The commissioner will answer. Oh, this lady, yes.
My name is David Aspen Solomon. Commissioner, I work for Rice Radio. Just to be clear, the 8.4 billion, is it over millions? And from when to when was this money recovered?
All right, thank you. Another lady. No, hold on. Somebody. Yes. Your name and institution.
Speak loud, speak loud.
I am Manuela. Sir, the 8.4 billion, is it the money recovered from SLRA or NRA or the ministry?
Thank you. Okay.
All right, just one more. I saw one lady. You? Okay. Your name?
Dalida Amanda Janet from AYB. So there was an allegation of corruption case against the executive director of SLBC Kapua, which is investigating. What is the current situation of the case? What is the current update?
Okay, thank you. Commissioner is going to respond
I like that side.
Now listen to me.
Says that teachers were displayed. Why are government officers not displayed? It's a very good question.
We are going to display
You see, this is why as a country we have to give deference, regard to people who give position. When those teachers were displayed, we had just brought into effect a new strategic plan, which the people of Sierra Leone require that will be stronger with corruption. We take steps that are radical, different. Things that will send the right message and make this country to go get out of this trauma, to understand that corruption is bad. That happened 2 weeks before. It was launched by the Vice President barely 2 weeks before the teachers' incident happened. And one of the things that we agreed amongst ourselves as anti-graft fighters was people who are caught red-handed should be shamed. We should put them in public so that everybody can see, as a way of sending a message for people to desist from corruption. And the first case that happened after that new strategy was the Scorpion Squad raid at the Kaifala, where all of you saw it on social media, where people were taking women and girls. Some of these people were sleeping with children to help them pass exams. They were passing papers like in a church when they do collection home. To collect money in examination halls from students so that they can stand and dictate to them question 1A, question 2B, question 3C, and all the children will do is to write. To me, there is no corruption that is more dangerous than that. Because it was going to create children who were going to be lazy, because if that can happen, then you don't have to study anymore. And they were going to pass anyway, because when they bring a mathematics professor from Jalal University and give him 5 million euros, so that all he can do is to solve WAEC answers and stand there and dictate to the students, to the children, question 1A, question 2B, question 3B. The answers that the children are going to give is actually the answers of a mathematics professor from Jalal University. What do you think is going to happen? All of them are going to get A's, not so. And they will go to the university. And as long as they have started cheating that way to get to the university, I can assure you they will still get out of the university system. And they become medical doctors. They are the ones who are going to become ministers. They are the ones who are going to hold positions. They will have papers. That is why we cannot fix our economy, because we have economists who don't even understand economics. We have 1,051 economists, but you tell them now how to fix Sierra Leone problems. Well. We have lawyers, some of them, you sit down in court, when they stand up to speak, you tell yourself, oh God, what have I done to Sierra Leone? But that does not mean they are not good ones. They are not good economists. They are not good lawyers. They are not good law doctors. But we want to create, remember when I told you, when I started this, when I talked about the lemon economy? We want oranges and get oranges and not lemons. We want, when people who come out of the educational system say that they are economists, we can trust them to fix our economy. When they say they are medical doctors, you can go and lie down and they play with your kidney very safely and lock it back and you go home. But if people are going to dictate number 1A, number 2B, number 2C, and those children end up being the ones occupying all these positions, including future anti-corruption commissioners, I am telling you this country is doomed forever. So when we caught the very people who were doing this to this country, a principal among them, and the new strategy was decided, we said let's display them. But what happened? You saw what happened also? You people don't remember. You don't remember when my head was asked to be cut off? I was treated like Barabbas in the Bible.
Fact.
They said, give us Barabbas. They said, Ben Kaifala should be removed from the ACC. I was molested. I sat down in my office, locked my door, and wept like a baby when I heard what this country was doing. If you think I'm joking, ask Mr. Gobi. For 2 hours, he was knocking my door. I could not open it. I was crying. So much so, where did it end? The teachers put out a press release that they were going to strike. And the president had just launched the free education project. It was in jeopardy. Instead of teachers being appalled by what their colleagues were doing and cried it out, they said they will not teach again because this wicked boy at Francis Kaifala has displayed teachers. We are going to down our tools. The president, as father of the nation, apologized on my behalf and said, we are sorry. This wicked boy, Ben Kaifala, well, that's not what he said, but he was basically, as a father of the nation, saying, look, let this man continue to do his job, but I am going to apologize on his behalf so that the teachers can continue to teach, so that the country can move on. But what message was sent to us was that this country did not want that kind of thing. We were shut down before we even started. So, after the president apologized, I remember meeting with my team of directors. We were very dispirited in this commission. We felt that the country has humiliated us. We sat down among ourselves, we wiped our tears, we strategized and said, naming and shaming has been rejected by this country, and we are very thankful that the president has apologized on behalf of us. Let us move on. But it will not be a strategy of the fight against corruption again. But do you know what has happened after that? When people have continued to be corrupt like this, Every time there is a corruption, when is Kaifala going to take these people to the cottage tree? The Kaifala has to take. How can Kaifala take people to the cottage tree after what happened? Let's be very honest with ourselves. Why do you people ask me this? Don't you think it's unfair to even ask me? But they will sit down there and say, the very people who are writing on Facebook, on social media, I saw people who have never posted on social media for years. They were writing one long article every day, every morning, with my name. And they will tag me for me to see. I saw my own friends denigrate me. They said, it is because these are innocent teachers, that is poor teachers, that is why I did it. I accept. I honestly accept my fault. I was just so appalled by what happened that day, by the evidence that I had. I saw the future of this country crumbling. And maybe in that anger, I decided that that was the best thing to do. But the country rejected it. And no less a person but the president, who, what does the president do? The teachers have said they will not teach anymore. He apologized, and rightly so. So my dear brother Bokari, there will be nobody taken to the constitution. If even the person now goes and takes the vault at commercial bank and passes with it in the middle of the street and goes with it, you people in Sierra Leone have said that strategy is not what we should do. It does not mean we will not do anything about him taking the vault at Central Bank. We will still investigate him. If possible, we will recover the money. If possible, we will charge him to court. If possible, we will ask him to be fired. But to say that we are going to take them to the cottage tree, it is not going to happen. And let the message go. I want you people to go and write it everywhere now. When you see somebody comment, because I see it every day, when are these people taken to the cottage tree? When is Parantarali going to take it? If he is not going to be taken to the cottage tree, because Sierra Leone said he should not be taken. So it is convenient when it was teachers who were behaving badly, you said it should not happen. But because this man is a political opponent, probably you don't like him. You now want him to be taken to the cottage tree. And who should do it? Me, who you treated like Barabbas? Anyway, Isaac says cases in court, and well, we have cases in court. The judiciary is a complex affair, and they themselves have too many cases. Like us here who have capacity problems, the judiciary too may have capacity problems. So we understand with them. But I can tell you our cases has not been moving as fast enough as we wanted. We are not getting judgments as we should. Like I explained yesterday at the state press conference, we are like a processing plant. The judiciary is the up end and we are the lower end. And those who understand finance or management and all these things understand what happens when the upper end of the case production system is not moving fast enough. What will happen? There will be a clog of the system. So we will be processing and sending cases to the judiciary, but we are not getting judgments fast enough. If we cannot get judgments fast enough, then what's the point of sending all these cases to the judiciary? We have tried. We have held meetings with them. We have written letters to them. We have communicated with them. We have tried to understand with them. But our judgments are not coming fast enough because they themselves are constrained sometimes. Sometimes we cannot even understand why they cannot give judgment. I cannot understand why a judge will hold a corruption file that the case has been closed 1 year ago just to come to court and give a decision. The judge just cannot give a decision. I have had situations where not only have I called these judges myself, I send them text message every morning I wake up. My Lord, please don't forget there is this our judgment before you. Can you please give a decision? Last year, before December, I sent a letter to Chief Justice Babatunde Edwards. He called a meeting of the judges and spoke with them. I myself sent my director, Mr. Mansibo, and other team members, Mr. Kaifala here, went to each of the judges and said, my lady or my lord, when are we getting our judgment? Because I am very worried. These cases determine our standing in the international rankings. They are going to check how many convictions has Sierra Leone had for corruption in 2023. Do you know how many we have? We had only 2 judgments in the entire 2023. And it is not in our control. Then the other thing which you people worry about so much, why are people not being jailed for corruption? At the beginning of an investigation, we can arrest people and detain them for 10 days. But that's all we can do. After that, we charge them to court. The court finds them guilty. It is supposed to be the courts who are supposed to impose custodial sentence. To say this man, by what he has done, is so bad, he should not go home. But I can tell you this for sure, for some whatever reasons, I don't even know. Maybe we should conduct a study to understand. Our judges are not willing to give custodial sentence. They are not even the ones who dare to give custodial sentence, to say these people should be held in custody for 3 years for corruption. The lawyers will file for appeal, and they go to the Court of Appeal for the Court of Appeal to grant bail, and the Court of Appeal will usually grant bail. So, if you ask me, do I want for people to be held in custody for corruption? Absolutely yes. In fact, that is what I came here for, to make sure that everybody who commits corruption should be locked up forever. But can I do it myself? I cannot. Who does it? The judges.
Only for.
But because custodial sentences is not being imposed, maybe that is why we have not been able to make corruption this expensive. And if you add that to the fact that our cases are not moving fast enough, we are in a conundrum. So sometimes we don't have a choice. That is why we exercise options like this. Some of it are in these boxes. This one. Samura, take it, bring it. Bring it, bring it. Bring it. No, don't bring the box. Put it here. Put it.
Hey, Alfred.
Let me bring this one. This is money on behalf of the people of Sierra Leone. This one, we did not rely on anybody to recover it for us. We have recovered it and we are giving it back to Sierra Leone. This one, all of this one. There's more there. These are all money stolen in one case, and that brings me to the question of the lady who says in respect. No,
Snap.
Madam, I am telling you, believe it or not, this is just one case. One case, SLRA. And some staff of the Ministry of Finance, because let's make it clear, it's not the entire Ministry of Finance. Let's not go and say the Ministry of Finance is corrupt. No. Those gentlemen there, particularly Matthew Bingi and the minister, I believe them. They mean good for this country. They want this country to be run very well, and they are doing very well at their work. But there are very wicked people in the system. So this money you see here, madam, this is one case, one case, one human being, plus 4 other people, stole all this money and took it to their homes and put it in their vaults and their accounts. And it also brings me to the other question, how long have we been explaining? This stealing that you see here happened between August and December. We only became aware of it in December. So this money has been recovered within a period of 3 weeks from them. How they got this money to bring it back here, I don't know. And I don't want to know. Me, all I want is that the people of Sierra Leone get back their money. If I have my chance, if I should have my chance, I should tie them to the conclusion. But you people have said it is not about that. And I have agreed with you. So let us move on as a country. Another question from Dalinda about AYB. AYB, we have explained the problem of SLBC was a management problem, was a leadership problem. I have told you people that part of our work in the commission is not always to lock people up or to take money from them. Sometimes we find out that the place is not being run properly. And one of the things that we found out at SLBC was, for some reason, whilst the Director General was focusing on how, for example, how the pictures will look when we sit at home and things like that, there were certain administrative lapses that was leading to various acts that were improper. So we recommended to the President to say, if SLBC is going to be run very well, change the leadership. And the President has listened. That is why Joseph Kapua was removed from SLBC. Are we going to charge Joseph Kapua to court? No, we are not charging him. But is it that nothing has been done? A lot has been done. Some of it may not be out there, and some of it may not explain it. But I can tell you it is no coincidence that the leadership has been changed at SLBC, and the decision is for now to work with them. Mr. Rashid Toure here and his team are now going to work with them to set up what we call prevention systems so that the institution can run better and well. I think those are the questions so far.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah. One last set of questions.
Yes, sir. Wow. Okay. Find the yellow. Yes. Do it quickly.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Commissioner, my name is Momelami Banya from AYB.
AYB.
Yeah, Momelami Banya from AYB.
Okay.
Mr. Ben, I want you to clarify if you've met with Honorable Paran, and also if you've asked him to resign, and also
it's okay, it's a good question.
And also whether you've asked President Bio to take administrative action with regards the evidence before him. Again, last year December, your team said that you are looking into issue with regards the former CIO boss. I want to know how far with the investigation.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Yes.
Yes, I am a from Afro Radio. First of all, I want to commend the ACC for resolving this. But I want to make a short clarification. The lesson is issued out by the Ministry of Finance. They mentioned 6.5 billion holdings as the money that was spent. And you spoke about 8.4 as the money that was required. So I want to get a
clarification on that.
Clarification, yes.
Yes, thank you. Yes.
Yes, sir.
The man at the back, yes. Your name, yes?
Yes, John Kelly Mara. I report for David newspaper. The Commissioner, sir, with all this issue of corruption allegations, original report, how speedy is the investigation going to take place for us to have a comprehensive report, sir?
Okay, thank you.
Also, maritime, sir.
All right, yes. All right, okay. Yes, second to the last.
I want to know how far matters of former president and former
Okay.
they have paid money.
All right. Yes, no, the last person, yes, New City.
Yes. Mr. Commissioner, my name is Mahmoud Silla from the Nature newspaper. What should be your recommendation for the people that are involved in stealing this money to Minister of Finance and SLRA? You know, for them to be removed from the government work.
Not to use it for fast solution. You don't ask questions. You will. You don't comment. You don't question.
Whether I have asked the president to resign, I told you that I don't play the role of the power. The president is a very good business. I have told you we had a very good meeting yesterday on this issue, and you will hear from me. So keep your ears out, you will hear from me. The chief immigration officer, the investigation is almost completed. We had a challenge reaching the person he said donated the vehicle to. He's in America, not so. And up to now, we have not been able to get it. That is what delayed that investigation. But it is very active, and if we cannot get him there, we'll take decision and action. Because we have told him that he has the responsibility to produce that person. Unexplained wealth. And maybe let me take this time to explain unexplained wealth. Unexplained wealth, the ACC just has to show that there is wealth. You have to explain how you get it. And prove it. If you cannot prove it, then it means it is unexplained. And if it's not unexplained, it means it belongs to the state. Are we understanding? So the ACC does not have to prove that Jaya Kakai worked so hard to get money to buy those vehicles. All the ACC has to show that there is a vehicle, and he has to explain how he got it. Including to make sure that that man who donated it to him contacts us and gives us details. But we are trying to be very fair to him, to give him time for all this to happen. We don't want to rush. But we have been waiting for so long, and it seems it is not happening. And if it cannot happen, then we'll take it. And there was another one who said the ministry, yes, a very brilliant question. The ministry says 6.5 billion. You see, we have what we call forensic investigation methods. So the ministry at that time thought it was 6.5 billion. But when we now started this investigation, they limited their findings on a particular period, particularly in December, what came out in December. But we now realize that no, this is not just happened in December. We went all the way to August. And we found out that there was about 2.3 billion euros that was channeled through a different account. A suspense account, and that money was taken out by these very people. So why is the ministry says 6.5 billion euros? We found out that there was another additional 2.3 billion euros. We now added it to this money, and that is what this recovery is all about. Okay? So the ministry at that time, they limited to a particular period. We widened the scope of the investigation and was able to find out. Someone is asking how speedy. I can assure you very speedy within our capacity. The ACC, the investigations, do we have up to 40 investigators? No. And these cases that I've called for you are just a tip of the iceberg of cases that we have. And sometimes it is challenging to do all of them at the same time. So within our capacity, we'll make sure it is very speedy. But I can assure you all these issues are going to be completed within the next 1 month. Okay? Another, there was a question about 45 billion. Yes. Yeah, what was it?
And you said an account was
Whether the NRA matter, which the man ran away. No, we have an advance report in that matter now, not so. Despite the fact that he has run away, which affected the investigation, because he is the principal kingpin, we are going to conclude it. It will be part of the things that will complete within the next month. And somebody asked about President Nkrumah and Samora Kamara. Yes, we took statements from them. They were here in December, and the team are now reviewing their statements to determine what next steps we can take. I know you are worried about the fact that there has been some medical travel, not so. That one is not in our hands and in our control. But it does not mean we will not continue doing our own part. And the last question came from my dear friend Tula. Tula, no, Sila.
Yes.
Sila says, what recommendations are we going to give for the people at SLRA? Trust me, every time we finish our investigation, part of our recommendation is always that, particularly when we have established that this person was corrupt, is to say that person should not go back to that office. But most times it's not even practicable for that person to go back. And those who administer the place know this and they take steps. Okay? Alright, I think that is all we'll have time for today. But as you go, I want you to spread the message. The ACC is doing its very best. We have limited capacity. Sometimes we have limited resources. But we're doing our best for us to make sure that this country is no longer run as business as usual. And what you see here before you is evidence, clear and crystal evidence that it is no longer business as usual. Thank you very much, and I'll hand you over to the Deputy Commissioner to close. But let me now tell you this. There is a bullion van waiting outside. There is a bullion van from Access Bank waiting outside to take this money to the bank and put it in our recovery account, and it will be returned to the Ministry of Finance for them to continue doing the good work they are doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner, for the clarifications and answers given. And also thank you very much for the questions you asked. I know if we have time, all of you have several questions. However, we keep that for the next press conference. Now, you can, Mr. Patrick Sandy, we take you to his own office for administrative activities, while we're going to remain here with bankers to ensure that we cut this money and they take custody of it. Thank you, and thank you.
It's not sure we've come to the end of the press conference. ACC, it's now Unity Broadcasting. We'll continue for leaving me as to the people now.